Welcome to the group meeting on occupational health. With me on this meeting is our student, a future leader of our dear country, Officer Mary, in service of keeping our country safe. The fireman, who will jump into fire to save our homes. The builder, who will climb the sky to give us shelter that can protect us from wild animals. The plumber, who maintains the shelter given to us by the builder. The florist, who beautifies our home. Terraconlan, who can travel back to history to ensure the future is secured. The zombie, who teaches us vigilance is a necessity for survival. And the robot, who takes a bullet in order to save humanity. That was quite long. You know, sometimes we don't see value in some occupation. Okay. Enough playing around. Let's continue. It's necessary we understand what occupational health and safety entails. Occupational health simply means the health of people in a work environment. Workers in every occupation are faced with multitudes of hazards. It could be physical, chemical, biological, psychological, social hazards or whatnot. Now, preventing these work-related diseases or accidents is the reason for occupational health and safety. Occupational diseases are present in every working environment. Cynthia, please tell us the biggest challenge you encounter in school. Depression. Everything I do, I put my best. I study almost all the time. I submit my assignments on time. I ensure I don't skip classes. But when the result comes out, it doesn't justify the effort I put into it. People who don't even study do well more than me. Most times, I get mocked. I hardly move around because I wouldn't want embarrassment from them. The thought of it all gives me so much headache. That's so sad. Actually, Cynthia is my younger sister. I noticed she is always on her own. She is not a fan of public places. And she always feels uneasy each time we are out of the house. I knew there must be something wrong. And that is why I invited her for this meeting. You'll agree with me that Cynthia already developed a psychosocial occupational health problem, which may affect her mental health if not properly managed. It can also result to alcoholism. Reason is that, while she yearns for a listening ear, but unable to find, she may find solace in alcohol, believing it will solve the problem. Which may or may not be true. But what do we expect Cynthia to do? Sometimes, the solution to these problems are not the easy ones. I wouldn't suggest Cynthia changes school, unless she wants to. Nor will I suggest we approach the head of school or her class teacher, as that will earn her more embarrassment. But what if we can help Cynthia approach her studies in a better way? It's possible Cynthia may be studying to please people, not really understanding what she is studying, or study with fear of failure. It could also be that Cynthia may have short-term memory. With all these in mind, Cynthia needs to first understand that failure is no sacrilege, because success itself is the end product of so many trials and errors. But failure becomes a problem when we make it a routine, or do nothing about it. After Cynthia must have understood this, we will then proceed with illustrative learning. We shall be linking her study to real-life activities. That way she can remember better and retain longer. And that's that for Cynthia. Let's move over to the next person. Mr. Jack, as a builder who works in a construction company, can you tell us your biggest challenge in the industry?
Nothing much. Just that sometimes noise from this big construction machines or electric tools can get really disturbing. I also experience muscle pains each time I finish using some of the handheld vibrating tools.
Mr. Jack, do you make use of the ear protective equipment?
Not always. Those things can get really discomforting, especially when you must have worn it for long and probably sweated on it. Besides, most of us are used to the noise.
Mr. Jack, exposing yourself to this high level of noise without a hearing protection can lead to a permanent hearing impairment. Also, constant use of these handheld vibrating tools put you at risk of developing musculoskeletal and neurologic disorders. Mr. Tony, you are next. Given your experience in firefighting, what is your greatest challenge?
the flashbacks and nightmares. If a rescue mission was partially successful or unsuccessful, I find it difficult to go about my daily activities. Anytime I recall the experience, it disrupts my activities for the day. And each time I fall asleep, I could see their faces and hear their screams. It makes it impossible for me to sleep, which makes me rely on sleeping pills.
You are passing through a post-traumatic stress disorder. And Mr. Tony, your job is one hell of a sacrifice. You may be rewarded handsomely for it. But not everyone can take on your job regardless of the pay. Mr. Tony, no amount will be enough to compensate the life you are putting at risk for others. That alone should give you comfort. Sometimes, it's just impossible to save everyone. But remember that while on this mission, you must save yourself first. And that is only when you will be able to save others. So understand you're making a great sacrifice for humanity, and the world appreciates you for it. Mr. Zombie, you are next. It's actually funny I invited you. Please tell us your greatest challenge in the biting and sulking industry.
When I bite some people, I'm not sure of the taste of blood I'm getting. Most times, I get infected. Come on, guys. That's not fair.
I apologize for that, Mr. Zombie. It's just that we couldn't help it. But, your solution is simple. Just stop biting people and sucking their blood.
Then how do I survive?
Take filtered blood. That is, those blood that are being sold in the hospital. I volunteer to assist you.
Okay,